This is going to be broken into 4 quarters since we are in sports and entertainment. First quarter is going to be the preseason, which will be just an introduction. Second quarter will be training days, which will be your early career path in high school and college years. Third quarter is going to be your current role and how it looks today. And then we're going to finish off with some great career advice in the playoffs. So jumping right into it, in quarter one, our preseason, Ali, just have you go with your name, where you're from, and where you work.
Alexandra Speck, but you can call me Allie. I am from Atlanta, Georgia originally, but I live in Chicago now for work. And I work for Independent Sports and Entertainment. We're a player representation company.
Perfect. What is one aspect of sports that you appreciate the most?
I kind of touched on this before, and you probably saw it in my little 60-second clip, but I really love the power of sports. I think the ability to kind of bring people together is such a unique thing. There's nothing in the world that really can do it like sports does. I grew up moving a lot and I played soccer the entire time, and it really was like my saving grace. Like, I met people through my soccer team. I had a built-in family through my soccer team. And so to bring all different types of people together in different cultures, I lived in Australia, I played soccer there. I met the most unique, amazing people through it. Had some really crazy experiences from it as well, and I got to really just see the power it had of not only providing relief for people and having an outlet, but also it could help people bond that might not necessarily have anything else in common.
Speaking to your point of how sports is that bridge and that connector to different cultures and different backgrounds, and also how is your saving grace. When you were younger, what did you initially want to do for a career?
God, I was the girl who changed her career path like every other day. So I wanted to be a vet for a really long time. And then I found out, like, being part of a vet, you had to like put animals down, and that did not go well for me. So I was like, yeah, no, can't do that. And then from there, I'm a huge scuba diver. It's something that I love to do. I'm super passionate about. And so from there, I actually decided for a long time I wanted to do marine biology. And then fast forward, went through a few different phases, and I actually came out of college wanting to go into fashion. And I kind of realized that pathway wasn't for me, just having learned a lot more about like the underbelly of it. And that's when I finally decided, you know what, I'd always had a passion for sports. I just didn't know how I would make a career path out of it. And so through an internship, I realized like player marketing was something I was really interested in and didn't quite know that was an option before. And that's how I kind of landed on it, was just through a random internship I did with IMG like way back in the day. But yeah, I had a lot of like different phases of my life of career paths, that's for sure.
So speaking to your point about your internship with IMG, can you go in a little bit more depth of like how that process was of finding the internship, and like what did you learn through the internship?
I highly recommend any internship opportunity you have, paid, unpaid. The best experience of my life. I still talk to my former boss to this day. I was just catching up with one of my other colleagues. I met one of my best friends through the internship, so highly recommend. The process started actually through my school. I had networked with who are U of M alums. They told me, hey, IMG has an internship program all throughout the country every year. Like, you should definitely look into it. And so I was like, yep, I'm all in. I applied. I had let them know I applied. Again, like the power of networking. I had a few interviews, one with the hiring manager, one with HR, one with the head of the division, and I ended up getting placed in IMG College. And I randomly knocked on someone's door one day and was just like, hey, what do you do? Like, I would love to pick your brain. And it turns out he was the talent marketing agent for Cam Newton. And I learned more about it, and he sent me up the stairs to another guy and said, hey, go talk to him. He works with Alex Ovechkin. So I went in and kind of picked his brain. And I just had no idea that this was a career path. And it just spoke to me immediately. It really allowed like the creativity. And so that's why through internships, I think it's super valuable, because the majority of the time you're going to learn what you don't want to do, but that helps you narrow down and find and identify the things that you are passionate about. And then that could translate into what your career path could look like.
So going through that process of your internship, you mentioned how you were in contact with numerous of different people in numerous departments. So who was like an influential person in your early career, and who helped kind of mold your career path as it is today?
So actually my boss there, Allison Urquhart, she took me under her wing. We still talk today. She's somewhat in sports, somewhat out of sports now, but she really kind of like threw me in, allowed me to kind of sink or swim, which I really value just because that's really how the sports industry operates. So I got a very early experience of that. And she just kind of opened my eyes. She encouraged me to go and have different conversations. She allowed my like schedule to be more flexible to kind of explore. And she was awesome. Like I also love that she was a strong female in sports, and because up till that point I really hadn't seen that many females in the industry. So she really kind of catapulted me into wanting to be in the sports industry, as she made it such a great experience. And then I would say another person that really influenced me from there was John Courtwright. He actually is the one who got me my job with IFC that I currently have, or recommended me for it. And it was someone that really gave me my start, to be honest.
Absolutely. And transitioning to our regular season and your current role, if a student were to shout at you for a day, what would they see you doing on your day-to-day?
Oh gosh. Well, no day is the same, kind of how I mentioned. Hopefully they get an exciting day and not like a boring day of me just being on my computer and at calls. But again, like you could have two different versions. I could be hopping on a plane and having found out like 2 days before I needed to go and meet with this client and have a conversation about what we're doing from a marketing standpoint. I could be hopping on a plane and going and obviously not right now, but going and doing a photo shoot or going and overseeing an appearance. And then the other days are really me being on the phone, networking, following up with people, kind of having conversations, updating them on our roster, seeing what their clients are doing from an activation standpoint or what that brand's goals are for, let's just say 2020 or whatever year we're in, and really having discussions about, hey, what are problems you have? What are the objectives you're trying to accomplish this year? And then how can I help solve that problem? Do I have a player that makes sense for those ROIs that you're trying to achieve? And really working and collaborating with them.
So I know both of those can get really exhausting, but also could be really, really fun and propel a career. So what are two aspects of your job that you feel that are most satisfying?
I love sales. I think women are very good at sales. It's just not normally held by a female, but I'm obsessed. I love going and pitching and closing a deal. Like the moment you close that deal, there's such a high to it that you're like, I need another one. And it's what keeps you going and keeps you wanting to fight for the next one. Because in sales, like closing deals are few and far between. It's not like it's for every 100 calls you make, you maybe get one yes, right? So going and finding those strategic ways to creatively do a pitch and close something is so exhilarating, so exciting. I love it. Keeps me coming back for more. And then the second portion of my job is the people. I love working with my clients. They are phenomenal. They have such good hearts. And so when they succeed, whether it's off the field with a marketing opportunity or on the field, they win the World Series or whatever, like you've been a part of that journey. You've seen it happen. You've seen how hard they work to get to where they want to be. And so when they finally obtain that success, I mean, there's nothing better than being a part of that experience and just watching all their hard work finally come to fruition.
Absolutely. What is one skill that has kind of helped you sustain in your career and help like keep you grounded and continuously moving up in your professional career?
To keep me grounded, the no's tend to do that. But I think for me, being able to rebound, right? So you get knocked down, just pulling yourself back up and going on and making that next call, right? Like there are things that aren't going to work out. And so being able to be resilient and just, say, okay, this time it didn't work out. What am I going to do differently next time? Or who am I going to call this time to make sure I can get it through to the finish line?
Absolutely. And going back to your point of resilience and having to overcome adversity, was there a specific time where you yourself faced adversity, and how did you overcome that?
Oh yeah. So this is actually kind of a funny story. When I was in grad school, I went there knowing that this is what I wanted to do. From the start, I was told, this is a really hard and niche part of the industry to break into for a female. And I was like, okay, like I get that. I'm up for the challenge. And so repeatedly I was like, females just really don't do this type of work in the industry. And I was like, okay, well, I'll be one of the first then. I'm gonna do it. And so I kind of had to go out and do the job search on my own, because really no one in our program had done it before except for one or two. Fast forward, I get this job and I'm like, yes, like after many years of being told, make sure you have other backup opportunities, I did accomplish it. And so like that one for me was a big hurdle of, hey, I know this is a male dominated niche part of the industry, but like I want to do it and I'm going to be successful.
Absolutely. And going back into your point of you being the first woman, and you had a lot of doubters because you're a woman in a predominantly male-driven industry. What is some advice that you would give to a young lady that wants to be in your position, who doesn't see that pipeline of women, powerful women? What advice would you have for her?
Persistence, honestly. Like if you have a goal, do whatever it takes to accomplish it. I had a lot of help along the way and I wasn't afraid to ask for it either. And I think those are the two things as females we struggle with. We don't want to ask for help. We want to prove that we can do it on our own, that we're capable, which is a phenomenal quality, but also not being afraid to ask. You have so many supporters. You have so many people who are on your side and on your team. Like find women who have been successful and pick their brains. Just reach out and say, I'm inspired by you. I want to know more.
What's the next step a student should take to potentially be in a position like you are in today?
I applaud all of you for doing this in high school. You are light years ahead of me. One, this is phenomenal that it's being put on, because I don't really think anything existed like this when I was younger. But two, the fact that you're taking the time to already do this means you're light years ahead. From here, I would say, hey, identify people that you either think their industry or their pathway was intriguing to you and captured you, or people that you might think that you might really just jive well with and kind of get along with. I would research and just reach out to them and say, hey, do you have 5 to 10 minutes where I can just introduce myself, pick your brain a little bit, and hear a little more about what you have to say or what you do?
I want to thank you for spending time with us today with your Talk. Campers, be on the lookout for more content. We have a bunch more great industry professionals such as Alexandra, and we are out. Thank you guys. Stay tuned.
Bye.